Hey, my name is Trey Bolin. I'm a storyteller, brand photographer, entrepreneur. I love to help people tell their stories. I love new beginnings, fresh starts, pivots, redirections, resurrections, revolutions. I'm here for the story, and I'm really excited to introduce my friend Anna Martin, and let's get to know her origin story. So, Anna, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Okay. So my name is Anna. I am the owner of KC Weightlifting in Kansas City. Actually, the gym is located in Mission, Kansas, but Kansas City is like a small, big town. So, yeah, that's who I am, and this is where I'm at. But
That's awesome. I'm glad you shared that you're a gym owner, but you have an origin story that I feel like is really unique because you have this superpower gifting, but it didn't start where one would think your normal journey would start. So let's just get into the origins.
yeah.
So how did you get started in doing what you do?
So, so when I first started, so I coach Olympic style weightlifting. I started when I was 14 years old, and I tell the story that I my my two younger brothers were lifting, and for 2 years the coach had asked me to lift weights, and I'd been watching them, and I was like, no, girls don't lift weights, I'm not going to do that. And so then I was going into my freshman year of high school, and my parents said, this will help you jump higher and run faster. And like, what person that's playing sports wouldn't want to jump
Yep.
higher and run faster?
Yes.
So I said, okay. I went in and I started lifting. And I went in, I asked him, I said, I just want to lift for volleyball. I don't want to compete. Don't ask me. And so about 2 months later, he said, hey, there's this weightlifting meet. If you don't like it, you never have to do it again. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll go in there. So I went and tried it. It'll be 30 years ago in August that I started. It's been a long process. I've coached at 2 Division I colleges, Oklahoma State and Tulane University. I coached at 2 Olympic training centers, at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs and Northern Michigan.
Wow.
I came back, became the head coach of my old team for a little while, and in St. Joe, Missouri, and then ended up working for the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Kansas City and coached for them for several years, and coached some inner city kids that had never touched a bar before in their life, and turned around and made them. In 1 year, I had 6 kids go to nationals, 5 won, and 1 got second place.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been a long journey. I think 2011 I opened my own gym and have been doing that for 13 years. 13 years. Yeah, that's right.
That's incredible. I know sometimes I can't do the math either. That's incredible. What a journey. So you started lifting at 14, kind of fell in love with it, it sounds like, and then you decided to go to the Olympics. Like, where was that tie-in? Obviously, you were very good at what you were doing.
Yeah. So I actually never made the Olympics.
Okay.
So the highest I ever got in my life was number 11 in the United States. I lifted in the world team trials, and
amazing.
I lifted for the United States on a couple international teams, and got to coach at the Olympic Training Center and got to live there for a while. And so, I did very, very well for myself. It's very, very hard to make the Olympics and Olympic weightlifting. Like 4 girls in the whole United States get to go. This year, only 3 girls in the United States get to go out of everybody that does it. So
that's still incredible. I mean, you said number 11.
Yeah.
That's still amazing. I mean, I don't think I would make any. Yeah, not at that level at all. So now you've taken that ability, you've had the experience, and now you train people, right? You help them to have the training that you had. So where did that come from? So you were training, you were going really far. How old were you at that point when you were competing?
It was in my early 20s to 28 years old. That was kind of when my big prime was. And really, like, I had watched a couple of my coaches. Like, I've always loved kids. Kids are just so much fun to me. I've definitely had a God-given talent on knowing what to do with kids. And I don't have any of my own, so I tell people I got like 40 kids in the gym right now. So it's not just about coaching weightlifting; it's about making good humans.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for pouring into the next generation. I
Yes.
feel like kids need people like you that are pouring in.
Yeah, and it's just so fun. I just love seeing them do well, and so that's really when I was at Oklahoma State or Tulane University. I was at Tulane, and somebody asked me. I was doing an interview with a newspaper, and they're like, "What's the goal for you one day?" And I said, "Man, I'd really love to have my own gym and coach a big weightlifting team because I grew up with that. I knew what that was
Yeah.
like, and it was so fun. I had some of my friends in weightlifting are still friends today, and we get together every once in a while. So it's just it's a different environment. It's a sense
Yeah.
of belonging for a lot of kids, and sometimes they don't get that. So fast forward a few years down the road, I did have my own gym, and I was doing a radio talk show, and this guy had done his research and found that article, and on air, he didn't tell me ahead of time he had found that article, and he goes, "So years ago you said that this was your dream to coach this weightlifting team, and here you are doing it." And it caught me off guard. I like about started to cry. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm doing it." So it was just so cool that that's what I get to do every day is help it, and I just love helping people in whatever it is. Cause my youngest that I coach is 6 years old. Their workouts are just kind of
Wow.
jump on a box
Yeah.
and have some fun. The oldest I coach right now, I have a 76-year-old. I've got several in their 70s, but just
Mhm.
ladies and men that just need to be strong and keep them out of the
Yeah.
nursing, so it's just
Yeah.
yeah.
That's incredible to be actualizing your dreams.
Yeah.
What were the steps that led up to that? Are there things that you can look back at and say, this was a defining moment. This led me to where I am right now, living my dream?
I'd say that was really God. I didn't do.
Mm.
I just was in the right spot at the right time. I
Amazing.
was coaching at. I was coaching for the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Kansas
Mm.
City, and I was doing all the things. I was a athletic director at one point. I was a program director, and I was kind of coaching personal training on the side and stuff like that. And this lady that I had made connections with at the Boys and Girls Club, who was a running coach, she had a gym, and she was like, "Hey, I know you're doing this, but would you want to start your own gym? And I'll have my side, and you do your side." She did more running coaching and stuff, and I said, "Sure." And so it ended up. That's how that got started in 2011, May of 2011. It'll be just a week or so, a week from
Mm.
now. It'll be the anniversary of it.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, that was that's how it happened, and it's been a process. So I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
owning your own gym is not always easy. I wouldn't want to do anything else. I love what I
Yeah.
do, but man, there were some tough years. Yeah, for sure.
What were those tough years like? What were those early days like? What were
Um,
some of the challenges you faced?
I love coaching weightlifting. I hate the business side. I am not a
Yeah.
business person. I would rather just coach weightlifting. So the thing I think for me was finding the right person to come alongside me and do the business side. I'm really good at what I do.
Yeah.
As far as coaching weightlifting and stuff like that,
Mm.
I'm really not the business side. So getting
Yeah.
that right person in that place to take over that
Mm.
was super helpful. And it's just kind of grown from there. I mean, I think my first space was like maybe 1,000 square feet of usable
Mhm.
space. Right now, we're in something that's 4,000 square feet.
Wow.
Behind me, there's 10 platforms and a big rig and all this stuff. So it's like came from this little tiny thing to this huge thing.
Yes.
All right, I think
That's
right
so
now,
good to hear that it's a process, right? And
yeah,
I think I'm cluing into something that you just said. Do the thing you're good at, outsource the other thing. You know,
100%.
find your zone of genius and then find somebody else that's good at the thing you're not,
Yeah,
partner with them, and then like boom. That
yeah.
is that when things took off for you?
Oh yeah, for sure. That was a game changer for me. And that's, I teach for USA weightlifting too. I teach their coaches courses, and that's what I tell coaches all the time is like find what you're good at and stick
Mm.
with that. I'm not giving people like macro advice. I did not get a degree in
Yeah.
like all that nutrition stuff. I know the basics, but I have a friend that did. She's got a master's
Amazing.
in it. So you find that, and that's what you do. I help people to this level, and then there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so brilliant because I think that's advice that everybody needs to hear, right? There are things that you're not going to be good at. That's okay. It's not wrong to be bad at something, right? And have that support and help come from somewhere else. Now, I'm sure that you've had goals, personal achievements that you were striving for in weightlifting. I'd love to know, and I'm sure everybody else would love to know, what do you lift at?
Like
Like, what
what?
are your numbers?
Okay. Well, when I was younger, my best I was 69 kilo lifter, so that's like 150 pounds. Yeah, around there. And I snatched 80 kilos, which is 176. I clean and
Yeah.
jerked 105, which is 231 pounds. So back in the day, that didn't give me anything less than third place. Nowadays,
Yeah.
it probably wouldn't have done as well, but the competition has just gotten so much better, and so
Yeah.
I love coaching people to that level. Right now, I'm 44 years old, and I still snatch 70. I think I snatched 77 last year. I clean and
Wow.
jerk 97. I really would like to do 100 kilos again.
Mhm.
So as far as that goes, like when I was younger, I got to lift on a couple of international teams, and I took second place in Mexico City's Olympic Festival, and had done pretty well. Now that I'm older, and get to lift in the Masters, which is so much fun, I tell people just go try it because it's so fun. And we go all over the place. In 2014, I won the World Championships for the Masters, and yeah, and so a few years, like I've done. And I'm right now. I'll be going to Costa Rica at the end of this month to lift in the Pan American Championships. Every year, I kind of go someplace. I probably will go back to the World Championships in Finland in September, and I have several to coach, as well as lift too. So it'll be fun. Anybody 35 and older can do it. So.
That's just incredible. And to see someone who's older doing those kind of things. I know I'm starting to kind of be in that menopause stage where like things in my body are shifting and changing. And and we kind of think, oh, like maybe weightlifting's not for me. I'm not going to do that. Like, let's just aerobicize, or, cardio, those kind of things. But I feel like there's been this resurgence and people understanding how important weights are, you
Mhm.
know?
Oh, 100%. It has changed a lot. And I think that's been so great with like my 70-year-olds. Like a lot of their friends don't think that they should be lifting weights. And I'm like, absolutely. You know what the number one reason people go into the nursing home is? It's because they can't stand up off of the toilet. They can't get up. And it's just because their
Wow.
leg strength is too weak. And so they end up in the nursing home because they're not strong enough. And so
Interesting.
that is, I mean, it's so cool to see these ladies that were told when they were younger. I have one lady that's 73 years old. She was like, so I used to go to the gym, but at the gym that they went to, her husband was military, and they had a women's gym and then they had a men's gym. She was supposed to go in the women's gym that just had these little bands and walk on a treadmill. And she was like, no, I'm going in the men's gym. You guys, whatever you need to do, but I'm going there because I'm going to lift some weights. And it's come so far. We are so different than what we used
Yes.
to be. And just trying to get people to understand that I don't care if you're 70, 80, 90,
Mm.
you can still lift. There's still things that can be done. Olympic weightlifting is a lifetime sport.
Mhm.
It's a lot of technique driven, and so it's so good for them. And you use light bars. We don't have to have a heavy bar. Don't think that you go into a gym and if they only have a 35-pound bar, then you need to find another gym because I have a 5-pound bar, I have a 10-pound bar. Like you can do it. It's possible. So anyway.
No, I love that. So, what would you tell someone who was curious about lifting, about getting started? What's a good place to start? I mean, that's what you help people with. So, what would you suggest?
I tell them to find a good coach. That's my biggest thing is find a good coach. And USA Weightlifting does have, you can look on their website and find coaches that have taken the level 1 or the level 2 coaches course, because that both those courses are ones that I teach. but they get a little bit more knowledge than just the average. You oftentimes find even high schools and middle schools that these coaches are teaching this, but have not taken level 1 or level 2. But what's
Wow.
so important with taking those is they learn how, like, the safety aspect. Olympic lifting can be harder to do, but if you do it correctly, it's I won't say easy, but the chance of injury is way, way low. People always say, oh, I'm going to get injured. And that's not the case if you have a good coach. So that's my first thing, is just go find a good coach. There are quite a few out there. So look around, ask questions, you'll figure it out eventually, because the better coaches will come to the surface. And you'll find them. Even if you look on Instagram, you'll find quite a few good coaches out there.
What would you say would be the qualifications for a good coach? That they've had that training, and then are there any other things that we should look for in a good coach?
Number one, that they've had that training, and then it's just I would go in and just have a conversation and find out what they've done, what they know. I mean, I don't know that there's anything that you can go and say, that's it, that's how I know. Like, my big thing is, do they care?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They're like, you can find out real quick if somebody cares about you and wants the best for you. I had a guy one time come in, and he had tried out another gym before he had come to my gym. And so as he's filling out my waiver form, I'm talking to him. I'm asking him, how are you doing? What have you been doing? Have you had any injuries? Where are you from? What do you like to do? Like, I'm asking him all those questions generally because, number one, I'm going to find out if he has been injured, but I want to know about them. Like, I get to spend a lot of time with these people. And by the end of the workout, he came to me and he said something that was really interesting. He said, in the first 5 minutes, you talked to me more than that other gym I went to the entire hour I was there. And I was like, wow, like, what? Impressive. So I think as you talk to people and you get a sense of who they are and actually if they do care. For me, I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve. And so I think people figure out really quickly that I'm not just like, here, come in and do this workout and get out the door and pay me money. I actually want you to be good, and I want you to be the best you can be.
Yeah. And that's what's going to set you apart. And I think as people are listening to this and hearing your entrepreneur journey, it's about that level of customer service that you're giving. And I know you're not saying it that way, but I'm hearing you care about people. You show up for them. You pour into them. They're not just a dollar sign to you.
Right.
The money that they're paying comes in exchange for training that you're giving, use of the gym, and a relationship. And isn't that really what good business is about? Creating community and relationships?
Yeah, 100%. I think Andy Andrews, the one time, I don't know if you guys ever listened to Andy Andrews. He's one of my favorite motivational guys ever. But he said, if people like you, you will make more money because they want to help you. They want to be there for you. But, and people can tell if you're fake. It's real quick to figure out if you're fake. So anyway, that's just how I like to do things. And I don't know. I generally do care. I really do want the best out of them. And it's so cool to see, I'm going this weekend to one of my kids. I started coaching when he was 12. He's going to graduate high school and go play college football. And so I was, invited to go do that. And it's just so cool to see them. And on the flip side of that, then you also have two people that actually never saw each other in the gym, but we had a gym get together. We went out to the lake on Memorial Day. We do that all the time. And he came in the morning, she came in the night, and they never saw each other. They see each other at the lake, and fast forward 2 years later, they're married, and now it's like 4 or 5 years later, and they have 2 kids. And it's like, that's so cool that they never would have known each other except for this gym. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So if you're looking for a love connection, join a gym. You never know what's going to happen with good community. Good community is the foundation for good business. And who knows, maybe there'll be a love connection.
I know, right? So true.
What an amazing story. I'm curious, how do you approach failure? I'm sure that you've had ups and downs in business, but
Mhm.
often how we face failure is really defining, you know?
I mean, failure in the weightlifting world, especially with weightlifting, I'll tell you what I do. Like, so we have good days and we have bad days. So in
Yeah.
here, there's a couple ways I can go with this, but though we have those bad days and maybe it's just not going well that day. I'll just say, all right, this is enough for today. We'll come back and we'll do it again tomorrow. Just forget this day, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, in a competition setting, when
Mm,
we have you like, okay, so I'll give you this story. I had this young girl and we're at a national weightlifting meet and it's her first big one and it's a big one. She's got a lot of nerves. She goes
mm,
out there and the lift that she should make all the time in the gym, she doesn't
yeah.
make it. She misses all three of them, and they call it a bomb out. Um, but we're gonna have clean and jerk. So everybody else is still lifting. She was one of the first ones out. She was super nervous. Anyway, so she bombs out, but she comes in the back and she is bawling.
Oh,
She's tears and ugly crying and
mm,
all of it. And I sat down next to her and I said, "All right, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes. I want you to go to the bathroom. I want you to scream, cry, stomp your feet, do whatever you need to do. But when
mm,
you walk out of that door, there is no more tears. And we're going to focus on our clean and jerks." And do you know she went out there and made all three of her clean and jerks? She did great.
wow.
And then fast forward to the next year, she was so much more prepared. Like, I've already
Mm,
walked, so we figured that one out. We made some lifts,
yes.
and I think it's just that trial and error. Like, sometimes
Mhm,
you're gonna fail, and you got to pick yourself back up, and you cannot give up. And right now in the gym, all the kids are on sets of 10 on squats, and they're heavy. Like, we do
mm,
60%, 65, 70, and 75%. This week is 75% for 6 sets of 10. So I've had several kids with tears, and I said, like, this is not about like the weight. I get it; it's hard,
mm,
it's tough. It's showing me: are you going to keep pushing and fighting, or are you going to give up? And
mm,
so, teaching those teaching moments that, yeah, it's tough, and my brain is telling me I got to stop, and you can't. You got to tell yourself, stop it, be quiet. I can do.
mhm.
And so we keep pushing through. So in the weightlifting world, that's kind of what I do is
Yeah.
uh, really keep pushing them, keep pulling them out of that. And I told one boy last night, I said, this is about life. He was crying.
Yeah.
He made all his lifts and it didn't actually look that bad, but his mind was playing these tricks on him. Like, this
Yeah.
is hard. I don't need to do this. And I said, do you know, in life is going to be tough and you cannot give up. And so you keep fighting until you get all the way through it. And he did. He made
Oh,
all of them and left, said, bye, coach. See you later.
yes.
So,
Those
you
are
know,
life lessons. These are
yes,
life lessons that you're learning, that you're teaching to these kids. And I love when you told that girl, get to the bathroom, scream it out, feel the feeling, and then you got to move on.
yep,
We can't stay stuck in our feelings. I'm not saying they're invalid. Validate them. Yes, we had them. Feel the emotion. That sucked so bad. But then go out there and give it your 100%, 200%, pour
yep,
your everything into it. That's what we need.
yeah,
That's what the world needs.
exactly. We're
We don't
not,
we don't need a big hug. I mean,
nope,
hugs are great.
yes,
And maybe we need one, but like we got to get going. We got to
yeah.
do the next thing.
You can't stay stuck in those feelings. You got to
Yes.
pick yourself up and we got to go. And don't feel sorry for yourself because you got to do it. You can't give up because where are you going to go? You got to go. So,
That's amazing. Cuz yes, exactly. Where are you going to go?
mhm, yeah.
You do the next thing. I'm loving this conversation. This has been so encouraging. I know that my listeners are going to love this and be so encouraged. I was curious though, if you had something to tell someone that they were starting out in business, what would be your encouragement to them? They're just starting out. Maybe they have that 1,000 square foot gym.
Mhm.
What would be that advice?
My biggest thing is those hard days are going to come, and you got to put one foot in front of the other. Prepare for those hard days. Know that they're going to be there, because you can do everything right. And this happens to me. I do everything right, and I have these athletes that are good, but then life happens and
Yeah.
they move on from me. That's a tough thing for me. That's hard.
Mhm.
I could just say, I'm, I'm done. But then I think about it, and I've got this other one over here that has a not so great home life. If I give up, what am I doing for that kid?
Mm.
And so those, I think if your heart's in the right place and you just keep those doors, like for me, it's always been, this gym has been here because I'm here to help people meet Jesus.
Mm.
Um, through through shining my light, I don't put out a whole lot about that. People know that I'm a Christian, but I'm going to help those kids, because I had one girl last week just tell me that her mother said, "You don't love me, I should just kill myself." And I was like,
Mm.
"Honey, that's not okay, but I
Mm.
love you and I'm going to be
Yeah.
there for you." So I
Yeah.
gave her the hug. But like, if I give up because somebody else has something bad, they didn't like something about me or whatever, what would have happened with that girl? Who's
Yeah.
going to be there for her? So anyway,
Right. Like you just said, cry about it,
yep.
get the feelings out, and then be ready for the next person that you're supposed to help. What a great message. Thank you so much for this incredible conversation. How can people get connected to you? Do you have an Instagram we can follow? I'm sure it's filled with inspiration.
So I'm on Instagram, Anna_WT coach for weight coach. Or you can
Awesome.
follow my gym page as Casey Weightlifting. So
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm just excited to share this with my viewers. So thanks for joining me today.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye.